歡迎大家嚟今日嘅記者會。我首先請行政長官用中英文作一個開場發言，然後接受大家嘅提問。行政長官。
各位，本屆立法會有當選議員，包括梁頌恆同埋游蕙禎，喺就職宣誓過程中故意違反宣誓嘅程序同埋誓詞嘅規定，甚至作出侮辱國家同埋民族嘅言行，宣揚港獨主張，因而喺香港以至全國引起咗極大嘅憤慨。特區政府認為佢哋嘅行為嚴重衝擊法治，破壞一國兩制，造成極大嘅衝擊同埋極壞嘅影響。特區政府已經喺上個月嘅18號，根據基本法第104條、宣誓及聲明條例及法院先前就相關案例所作嘅判決，啟動司法程序，要求法院裁決梁游二人未能符合法定要求，並應被取消議員資格。今日早上，全國人大常委會喺北京嘅會議上，根據憲法第67條第4項及基本法第158條第1款嘅規定，就基本法第104條所指定嘅公職人員，包括立法會議員嘅就職宣誓，作出清晰嘅解釋同埋説明。全國人大常委會根據憲法同埋基本法賦予嘅權力，對基本法條文進行解釋，係香港特區憲制同埋法律制度嘅重要部分。全國人大常委會今次所作嘅解釋，旨在確保基本法第104條中所列明嘅公職人員就職時依法宣誓，必須準確、完整、莊重地宣讀包括擁護中華人民共和國香港特別行政區基本法、效忠中華人民共和國香港特別行政區內容嘅法定誓詞。全國人大常委會嘅解釋進一步釐清，任何以不真誠、不莊重方式進行嘅宣誓，均屬拒絕宣誓，所作嘅宣誓因而無效，宣誓人亦即喪失相應嘅公職資格，並且不得就任該公職，也不得行使其職權和享受相應嘅待遇。上述解釋清楚説明基本法第104條嘅含義同埋違反該條文嘅後果，亦都明確咗指定公職人員嘅宣誓要求。公職人員包括立法會議員，依法宣誓就職，必須喺宣誓中真誠莊嚴地承諾擁護中華人民共和國香港特別行政區基本法，同埋效忠中華人民共和國香港特別行政區。呢個係符合法律同埋憲制性要求嘅必要之舉，亦都係參選或者出任該條所列公職嘅法定要求同埋條件。特區政府同埋社會大眾對任何刻意違反上述規定、蔑視依法宣誓程序，甚或借機侮辱國家民族、鼓吹分裂國家同埋主權嘅行為，都必須遏止，嚴正依法處理。我同特區政府對全國人大常委會今日通過嘅解釋表示支持。我作為特區嘅首長，有責任根據基本法第48條執行基本法。我同特區政府將全面切實執行。香港係國家不可分離嘅部分，全體香港市民有責任維護國家嘅統一、領土完整同埋安全，以及民族嘅尊嚴同埋利益。我深信社會大眾都會認同，每一位特區立法機關嘅議員都有責任擁護中華人民共和國香港特別行政區基本法，效忠中華人民共和國香港特別行政區，並且貫徹執行一國兩制下嘅憲制安排同埋規定。我而家用英文重複一次。Certain elected members of the current term Legislative Council, including梁頌恆and游蕙禎, deliberately violated the oath-taking procedure and content requirements of the oath. They even insulted the country and the Chinese people in their words and deeds. In the oath-taking as well as advocated Hong Kong independence. Their conduct has caused widespread indignation in Hong Kong and across the country. The SAR government considers that their conduct seriously undermines the rule of law and deals a heavy blow to one country, two systems. On the 18th of last month, the SAR government commenced legal proceedings in the court, requesting the court to rule that Leung and Yao have failed to fulfill the legal requirements and should be disqualified as LegCo members in accordance with Article 104 of the Basic Law, the Oaths and Declaration Ordinance, as well as previous court rulings of related cases. This morning, at its meeting in Beijing, in accordance with the requirements of Article 64(4) of the Constitution and Article 158(1) of the Basic Law, the Standing Committee of the National People's Congress, NPCSC, issued its interpretation and clear explanations concerning oath-taking by public officers specified in Article 104 of the Basic Law, including LegCo members when assuming office. It is an important part of the constitutional and legal systems of Hong Kong SAR for the NPCSC to exercise the power conferred by the Constitution and the Basic Law to interpret provisions of the Basic Law. The interpretation is intended to ensure that public officers specified in Article 104 of the Basic Law, when assuming office and taking oath in accordance with law, must read out the oath as prescribed in the law, including to uphold the Basic Law of the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region of the People's Republic of China and swear allegiance to the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region of the People's Republic of China in an accurate, complete, and solemn manner. The interpretation has clarified that any oath taken in a manner that is not sincere or solemn is considered a decline to take the oath, and that oath taken is rendered invalid. As such, the person taking the oath is regarded as having forthwith lost his or her disqualification for the corresponding public office, and they therefore cannot assume such public office nor exercise his or her duties or enjoy the corresponding benefits of the office. The interpretation clearly explains the meaning of Article 104 of the Basic Law and the consequences of contravening the provision. The interpretation also explains clearly the requirements for oath-taking by specified public officers. All specified public officers, including LegCo members, when taking oath in assuming office, must pledge in the oath in a sincere and solemn manner to uphold the Basic Law of the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region of the People's Republic of China and swear allegiance to the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region of the People's Republic of China. This is both to comply with the legal and constitutional requirements and a prerequisite for standing for election or assuming office. Any words or deeds that deliberately contravene the above requirements, defy the prescribed oath-taking procedure, or even use the opportunity to insult the country and the Chinese people and advocate cessation must be stopped in accordance with the law. I and the SAR government support the interpretation passed by the NPCSC today. As the Chief Executive of the SAR, I have the duty to implement the Basic Law in accordance with Article 48 of the Basic Law. I and the SAR government will implement the interpretation fully. Hong Kong is an inalienable part of the country. The Hong Kong people have the duty to uphold national unity, territorial integrity, and security, as well as the dignity and interests of the Chinese people. I'm certain the Hong Kong community will agree that every LegCo member has the duty to uphold the Basic Law of the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region of the People's Republic of China and swear allegiance to the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region of the People's Republic of China, and to fully implement the constitutional arrangements and legal requirements under one country, two systems.
而家係提問嘅時間，喺我示意之後，請你講出你嘅機構，然後提出你嘅問題。呢邊第三行白色衫戴眼鏡嘅女士。
Hi, this is Jeffrey Lam from the SCMP. So my question is, the Basic Law Committee Chairman Li Fei has earlier said in the press that has earlier said in the press that self-determination also amounts to a call for Hong Kong independence. So my question is, would a lawmaker face any legal consequences or even be disqualified if he or she argues Hong Kongers should have a say in their future beyond 2047, even if it's not related to independence at all? And would the scope be too wide that have created a chilling effect that unnecessarily restrict Hong Kongers' free speech? And my second question is for Mr. Yuen. You mentioned earlier that you have hoped the saga to be resolved at the Hong Kong local level. But have you ever considered resigning from your post to convince Beijing not to do so? If not, why? Have you tried hard enough? Thank you.
The year 2047 is 50 years from 1997. Under Article 5 of the Basic Law, the socialist system and policy shall not be practiced in the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region, and the previous capitalist system and way of life shall remain unchanged for 50 years. So it is this part about Hong Kong that remains unchanged before 2047. What is a constitutional fact is that Hong Kong has been part of China, is part of China, and will be part of China this side or the other side of 2047. The Basic Law is a national law and also a Hong Kong law. So any proposition about Hong Kong's future must be in accordance with the Basic Law. And this part of the Basic Law specifies very clearly that it is only the capitalist system that will remain unchanged before 2047. Hong Kong has been, is, and will continue to be part of China.
I have in the past, as you mentioned earlier, that I said I believe the disputes concerning the oath-taking can and should be resolved within the Hong Kong judicial systems. I think I can tell you that I'm still of that will. However, in cases of this nature, there are bound to be differences of opinion, and such differences of opinion can be legitimate differences of opinion. In this case, the National People's Congress Standing Committee has exercised its power to make an interpretation of Article 104. And I think it would be necessary to look at the interpretation from an objective manner. And in so doing, I think one has to bear in mind several factors, if I may put it very briefly. The first factor is the constitutional design of Hong Kong. You would appreciate that under both the constitutions of the People's Republic of China as well as the Basic Law, the power is vested in the NPCSC to explain the legislation, including national legislation such as the Basic Law. And also in Hong Kong, the Basic Law deals with various aspects, including, among others, judicial independence on the one hand, and the interpretation of the Basic Law by the Standing Committee of the People's Congress. So in other words, both judicial independence and interpretation can coexist, and they do coexist under our constitutional framework as housed in the Basic Law. Secondly, I think one also has to bear in mind the background leading to this interpretation by the NPCSC, and I won't go into the detail because that has already been explained in the sessions this morning in Beijing. The third factor which I would invite people to take into account is the contents of the interpretation. If one look at the interpretation, one would see that the explanation sets out the meaning of Article 104 in a broad sense. In other words, it sets out the principle. It is not case specific. Rather, it sets out the general principles as an aid to the interpretation or understanding of Article 104. And I repeat, it's not case specific. And lastly, I think you all would know that we have in the past have 4 interpretations made by the NPCSC, and each time the judiciary of Hong Kong remain independent, they remain professional, they remain strong, and speaking for myself, I have every confidence that after this interpretation by the NPCSC, the judiciary of Hong Kong and all our judicial officers would continue to defend the law, to uphold the rule of law, and discharge their judicial duty in an independent, fair, and impartial manner. In short, I have every confidence that our judiciary would continue to properly and professionally discharge their duties. And I think in having considered all these factors, I think it would still be, if one thinks it's still meaningful to consider the questions of resignation, I would ask why. Because resignation is no more than a gesture, and one has to consider what has been done in its proper context, and that's why I summarize the various factors that I have done. And I emphasize again that not only do I have confidence in the judiciary, the Department of Justice and indeed the entire government of the Hong Kong SAR will continue to discharge our duty to defend the rule of law as well as to implement the basic law. Thank you.
我嘅右手邊第3行第2位男士。
你好，有線電視黃浩然，想問翻3個問題嘅。第一個問題係講到咧，其實釋法嘅文本裡面講到咧，即係確立咗監誓人嗰個權力，其實相對係大咗，決定嗰個宣誓嗰個係咪有效？即係李飛副主任咧，佢都講到話監誓人咧係需要有權威性。想問翻本地法律層面上面咧，會唔會話係改翻唔再由即係如果喺立法會嘅議員宣誓嘅時候，唔再由立法會秘書長監誓，可能會改由即係可能特首嚟宣誓監誓咁樣。第二條問題就想問翻，即係喺文本度寫到啦，即係參選嘅時候都同基本法104條掛鈎咗嘅，會唔會令到即係會唔會喺本地立法層面上面修改立法會嘅條例，去加一啲手續，令到一啲議員咧係即係喺宣誓嘅時候，去證明自己係真係真誠效忠基本法，定係還是只係加多一個條件或者工具俾選舉主任去作為把關呢？呢兩個問題都係主要想問翻政府會唔會喺本地立法層面上面就住釋法跟進。仲有一個問題想問翻咧，即係文本裏面特別註明提到咧，即係話提到23條基本法23條咧係禁止港獨嘅，即係會唔會話宣揚港獨咧？除咗講到係除咗宣揚港獨係冇資格去參選之外咧，仲要係追究翻佢嘅法律責任。其實會唔會政府係受到中央壓力要去推行23條咧？唔該。
或者我答咗頭嗰2條先啦。簡單嚟講咧，就係我哋今朝先至有呢一個釋法同埋相關嘅文件啦。咁樣咧，我哋好明顯，我哋需要時間咧去詳細研究究竟釋法嗰個內容對我哋香港嘅法律咧係有啲咩嘅影響。咁但係現階段可以答到呢位傳媒朋友嘅問題嘅咧，就係我嘅理解咧，就監誓人嗰個釋法裏邊就監誓人嗰條咧，其實係冇改變到現今嘅法律嘅內容嘅。其實整體嚟講，成個嘅釋法嘅內容咧，同我哋而家香港現有嘅成文嘅法例同埋相關嘅判例，包括特別係2004年梁國雄先生嗰場官司嗰個內容咧，其實個精神係一致嘅。就翻監誓人嗰度嚟講咧，亦都咧係講清楚係監誓人佢嗰個責任，但係我嘅理解就係始終有啲咩嘅問題出現嘅話，或者有啲咩嘅爭拗，包括係宣誓嘅嗰位議員又好，其他相關嘅公職人員又好，若然佢嘅意見同監誓人嘅意見係有分別嘅話咧，其實最終都係要交翻俾我哋香港嘅司法機構、我哋嘅法院咧嚟到去處理嘅嚇，所以冇話加大咗或者加強咗監誓人嗰個嘅權力，只係咧講清楚咁樣樣嘅啫。
就23條立法呢，一直都係香港嘅一個責任嚟嘅。當年起草基本法嘅時候呢， 喺考慮全國性法律或者乜嘢全國性法律要通過喺基本法嘅附件3列出嚟嘅時候呢，就曾經考慮過一啲全國性同禁止叛國分裂國家等等有關嘅法律呢，應否連同其他嘅全國性法律，譬如話國籍法等等一並呢係列喺附件3喺香港實施嗰條全國性法律。當時香港嘅意見認為呢，罪與罰嘅概念呢喺香港同喺內地唔同嘅，咁所以經過一場比較長嘅討論之後呢，到最後國家呢係決定呢係容許香港自行立法，而唔將全國性禁止分裂國家、叛國等等嘅法律呢係喺香港實施嘅。咁但係呢呢一個責任呢喺基本法裏邊係寫得好明確嘅。有關嘅全國性法律唔喺香港實施，但係呢基本法嘅第23條就係關於中央同埋特別行政區關係嗰一章嘅其中一條呢，就係香港特別行政區應自行立法，應係應該自行立法，禁止任何叛國分裂國家、煽動叛亂、顛覆中央人民政府等等嘅行為。而喺英文嘅文本呢，23條一個關鍵嘅字呢，就係 Hong Kong Special Administrative Region shall enact on its own。呢個 shall 呢就係同應嗰個字呢係相呼應。咁因此，自從基本法喺1997年7月1號喺香港實施之後呢，香港就已經有一個咁樣嘅責任嚟到立法。最近喺香港出現嘅呢啲港獨同埋分裂國家嘅主張呢，我相信會令到中央政府認為23條立法呢都唔係淨係一個未完成嘅一個憲制責任嘅問題，而係有咗現實意義。我相信香港市民過去睇唔到香港有人搞一啲分裂國家、搞香港獨立嘅可能性，現在呢亦都睇到啦。咁所以呢，呢個問題呢確實係值得大家注意嘅。
我呢邊第2行第2位女士，白色衫。
唔該，《東方日報》嘅，其實想問翻呢，就係就游蕙禎同埋梁頌恆嗰個案件呢，預計其實會唔會即係重新開庭呢？咁同埋就其他嘅議員呢，咁譬如話佢哋如果係需要重新宣誓嘅話呢，即係特區政府會唔會再入稟去即係去反對翻佢哋嘅議員資格呢？咁又或者係啲主張自決嘅議員呢，特區政府係會唔會又入稟呢？係要取消佢哋嘅議員資格咁樣呢？唔該。
第一梁頌恆先生同埋游蕙禎小姐嗰個嘅官司呢，需唔需要重新開庭呢？呢個要交由法庭去處理。我哋將會做嘅呢，就係我哋會將嗰個解釋嘅正式嘅文本呢，係盡快送交俾法庭，然之後呢，由法庭決定呢，究竟下一步應該係點樣做。你嘅第2條問題就係涉及其他嘅立法會議員呢。呢一度呢，正如頭先我答另外一條問題嘅時候呢，我都指出就係因為我哋今朝先至有嗰個解釋嘅正式嘅文本啦，咁所以我哋都需要啲時間呢去研究同埋呢去審視究竟對整件事嘅涉及其他議員嘅呢，有冇需要作任何其他嘅跟進行動嚇。
我呢邊第3行第1位女士。
你好啊，情報不加問，想問一問呢，今次釋法嘅部分內容，例如話即係點樣去確認佢拒絕宣誓啊，同埋有關嘅後果咁樣啦。咁亦都涉及一啲本地嘅法例，好似宣誓及聲明條例啦。咁可能釋法嘅內容會比嗰個本地嘅法例更加具體。咁其實今次嘅釋法有冇超越咗解釋基本法本身呢？唔該。
若然你睇翻成個解釋呢，其實都係呢去將基本法嘅104條呢嗰個嘅含義係將佢好清晰咁樣呢，可以話係重新講一次，或者係呢去強調佢原本嗰個原意嘅。正如頭先我答另外一條問題嘅時候，我都有講到，就係今次釋法個內容呢，若果你全面啲去睇嘅話呢，同香港其他嘅本地法例，亦都包括以前 夏正民法官響梁國雄先生嗰個訴訟裏邊嘅判詞呢，嗰個嘅精神呢係完全係符合嘅。咁所以係冇話修改到我哋基本法第104條嘅呢一個嘅意味。
我右手邊第3行第一位嘅戴眼鏡女士。
你好，香港01㗎，想問翻就係第一樣嘢就係今次嗰個釋法嗰個文本咧，到底有冇一個追溯力喺度呢？因為即係按照李飛主任所講啦，佢又提到話，咁其實即係喺呢一個解釋，嘅話咧，即係過往即係雖然有啲豁免啦，但係就唔係由法律解釋從佢公佈嘅時候先至會產生呢一個效力，而係佢解釋法律嘅時候係同時存在。咁會唔會其實今次嘅釋法係會有翻個追溯力喺度呢？咁第二個問題就係想問翻就係袁司長之前都提到係希望即係今次呢個事件係喺本地嘅法律嗰度可以解決，但最終都係咗做呢一個釋法啦。其實即係政府方面有冇同中央表達過呢一方面嘅訴求，嘗試進行過一個角力，但到最後呢個角力係唔成功。另外第三個問題就係提到呢一個中央一直提到即係好關注港獨呢一個問題，咁到最後就引申到今次嘅釋法。咁其實今次即係由中央政府主動提出釋法嘅話，其實係咪就係反映政府喺過往處理港獨問題上面啊未即係處理得唔夠好，促成到中央最後要主動去釋法呢？唔該。
就呢位傳媒朋友嘅第一部分嘅問題呢，你係談及呢一個追溯力嘅。我個人認為其實呢一個嘅名詞追溯力呢個名詞呢，嚴格嚟講呢，其實唔係特別係合適嘅。因為一般嚟講，我哋用呢一個名詞嘅時候，就係你訂立一啲新嘅法例嘅呢，你要決定究竟呢條法例係淨係影響以後嘅行為啊，定係會唔會影響呢個法例生效之前嘅行為呢？我哋一般會用呢一個名詞。咁但係今次呢，我哋唔係訂立新嘅法例，今次呢係解釋基本法。咁喺呢一度呢，係兩個嘅概念係特別相關嘅。一就係解釋法例嘅呢，解釋法例呢其實就係話條法例本身已經喺度㗎啦，我哋只不過係清楚咁去講呢條法例嘅含義。咁所以呢，呢條法例有嘅時候呢，個含義已經就係咁㗎啦。呢個第一。但係呢，響類似追溯力呢一個概念嘅時候呢，我諗你嘅意思就係話，會唔會影響一啲以前嘅法院嘅判決，或者會唔會影響一啲以前已經發生咗嘅事件，但係未上法庭作判決嘅？若然係一啲法院已經判咗嘅案件呢，係唔會受影響。呢一個呢，響基本法嘅158條第3款最後尾嗰句呢，係講得好清楚嘅。佢係咁講嘅：如全國人民代表大會常務委員會作出解釋，香港特別行政區法院在引用該條款時，應以全國人民代表大會常務委員會嘅解釋為準，但在此之前作出嘅判決不受影響。雖然呢一句呢係響158條嘅第3款。但係最少有香港有2個嘅判例呢，亦都係講咗呢一個嘅概念呢，係適用響所有由人大常委會全國人大常委會所作嘅決定。咁所以呢，響先前已經判過嘅法院嘅裁決係唔會受影響。至於話第二種情況就係以前嘅事情，但係未上法院嘅，咁日後若然響法院處理嘅時候呢，法院就會有責任呢去因應今次全國人大常委嘅釋法呢，作為香港嘅法律一部分呢，嚟到去處理相關嘅訴訟。
有一條問題我答。雖然人大常委會喺國家憲法同埋喺香港嘅基本法底下呢，佢都有釋法，包括主動釋法嘅權力。但係香港回歸差唔多20年啦，人大常委會行使呢個權力呢，連埋今次只不過係5次。説明乜嘢呢？説明人大常委會雖然有咁嘅權力，但係佢用呢個權力嘅時候呢，佢係十分之慎重嘅，而且係飛到咗人大常委會必要釋法嘅時候呢，佢唔會 釋法嘅。咁呢個呢係第一點。香港社會喺過去嗰4次嘅釋法當中呢，亦都有一部分人表達咗佢哋嘅一啲顧慮。呢個呢，中央政府亦都係充分了解嘅。喺呢度呢，亦都可以向大家分享一下。中央政府確實係十分關心香港嘅事務，十分支持香港嘅發展，維護香港嘅社會穩定。因此佢哋同香港各個方面各界人士持不同意見嘅人士呢，嗰個溝通呢係十分全面嘅。我同埋特區政府亦都經常創造不同嘅機會嚇，包括上屆嘅立法會議員就政改問題，我哋安排佢哋去上海、去深圳見負責政改嘅中央官員。我邀請張德江委員長嚟香港5月份訪問嘅時候呢，亦都主動安排立法會議員嘅不同黨派嘅代表同張德江議員呢見面同埋直接對話。而中央政府各個負責香港嘅部門呢，佢哋係非常留意香港嘅輿情同埋民情。佢哋甚至乎呢可以同我哋香港呢同時間睇到香港嘅電視新聞報導。咁所以佢對香港各個方面不同嘅意見呢係十分了解，亦都十分掌握嘅。就今次因為梁頌恆、游蕙禎兩位議員喺立法會宣誓嘅時候嘅言行引起嘅一啲影響呢，中央係高度關注嘅。特區政府呢已經喺法院呢啟動咗呢個司法程序嚇。要求法院咧進行一個司法覆核。但係中央政府嘅睇法呢，就係佢哋需要及時去處理呢件事，因為喺任何一個國家呢，涉及到國家嘅主權、統一、領土完整呢，都係重大嘅事情嚟嘅。咁所以今次嘅呢件事呢，唔係話一般立法會議員嘅言行，甚至乎違反基本法嘅言行，而係涉及到我哋國家嘅重大利益，我哋國家嘅統一、國家嘅主權。因此中央認為呢，佢哋有需要呢係主動釋法。喺呢個過程當中呢，特區政府包括我本人同中央呢係有充分嘅溝通嘅。我哋都將我哋嘅意見呢係包括香港社會嘅意見呢，有充分向中央反映。但係中央認為呢件事係重大事情，涉及國家嘅統一、領土完整同埋主權問題，因此佢哋認為呢係有需要係主動咁同埋及時咁釋法。
OK， 最後一條，呢一邊第三行知識3位女士。
想問翻Now TV 想問袁司長，頭先你打一條英文問題嘅時候咧，都講過，即係因為你以前就講過話，你覺得本地司法系統係可以處理啦，係咪？你係咪而家都咁樣認為咧？同埋即係都覺得係唔需要釋法咧？咁另外咧，就想即係頭先你就講到追溯力嗰個問題啦。咁但係頭先李飛主任喺北京都話咧，其實除咗中院有判決嘅案件係例外之外咧，其他嘅案件咧都係即係會受到呢個釋法嘅影響。咁係咪咁嘅情況咧？即係如果係喺其他嘅法院進行個判決，係咪可以推翻啊？即係
呢條問題嘅第一部分呢，就係我頭先答英文嘅時候都答咗，或者如果你唔介意，我就好簡單用中文再講多次。我以前講過我嘅睇法呢，係就宣誓嘅事件呢，係可以同埋應該向香港嘅司法系統呢去處理。我而家仍然係呢一個嘅睇法。咁但係呢，響我哋香港嘅憲制嘅制度同埋法律嘅制度下邊呢，全國人大常委會呢，確實係有權呢係就基本法呢係作出解釋嘅。好似頭先我用英文答問題嘅時候呢，我就話我都希望既然而家全國人大常委會呢已經係作咗個決定，係就基本法第104條呢係作出解釋呢，我希望大家可以用客觀同埋正面嘅態度呢去考慮相關嘅事情，而 而我認為有幾點係應該可以考慮嘅。第一就係喺我哋嘅憲制同埋我哋基本法嘅設計下邊呢，司法獨立係同埋呢個全國人大常委會嘅釋法嘅權呢係並存嘅。我哋一方面基本法係賦予咗我哋香港特區有獨立嘅司法權，包括終審權。另一方面呢，第158條呢亦都明確寫清楚，全國人大常委會呢係有權去解釋呢一個嘅基本法，所以兩者呢係冇矛盾。第二就係今次釋法嘅背景係比較特別。今早李飛主任喺呢個press conference 嘅時候呢，亦都已經解釋過相關嘅文件呢，亦都係有解釋過內容。頭先特首亦都有講係涉及港獨嘅問題，咁係喺咁獨特嘅背景之下呢，全國人大常委會呢係決定呢係作出呢一個釋法。我相信一個咁樣嘅背景呢，社會上呢亦都會呢係理解點解會主動去釋法。第三就係嗰個內容嘅問題，內容其實係原則性嘅，並冇就而家已經響法院展開咗嘅任何嘅司法程序呢係作任何嘅指點。相反，純粹係就基本法嘅含義作一啲原則性嘅解釋，所以呢係唔會影響個別嘅案件嘅處理，係唔會呢係干預咗法官呢係就某一個特定案件呢應該係點樣判。最後呢，就係頭先英文我講咗一次，我都希望用中文再講呢，就係我哋特區對司法機構、對香港嘅司法機構、對我哋香港嘅司法人員呢係有絕對嘅信心。我哋認為佢哋往後會繼續以專業、公平、公正嘅態度呢去處理所有佢哋嘅職責。香港經過咗4次嘅釋法，但係今日為止呢，我哋香港嘅司法機構、我哋香港嘅司法人員呢，仍然係非常專業咁去做佢哋嘅職責，響國際社會呢，亦都係獲得認同。咁呢一點呢，係可以足以證明我哋香港司法機構同埋我哋香港司法人員嗰個嘅專業性同埋佢哋嘅質素。我哋亦都係非常有信心呢，呢一個嘅情況係會繼續嘅。
今日記者會完畢嚇，多謝各位出席。
唔好意思，唔好意思。嗰個追溯力，我可唔可以簡單講兩句？頭先我已經解釋咗啦。咁但係你提到李飛主任佢所講嗰個呢，相信係其實係講緊兩個唔同嘅概念嚟嘅。若然以前已經判咗嘅訴訟呢，係唔會受今次呢一個嘅解釋呢係受影響嘅，除非而家仍然仲有上訴嘅過程。但係如果所有上訴嘅過程已經係完晒，換言之，所有喺香港嘅司法制度、法律制度之下嘅司法程序已經係有一個終審嘅判決，或者係冇任何其他嘅上訴嘅話呢，係唔會受今次嘅釋法所影響。呢一個係響基本法158條第3款裏邊講得好清楚，同埋好似頭先我答另外一位傳媒朋友嘅問題，亦都講咗啦。香港起碼有2個法庭嘅判例呢，係解釋咗呢一點嘅嚇。
多謝各位。